do I take my cue from? Hello, hello, hello. We're waiting. There we go. Well, I'll tell you, it's sort of crazy tonight. Here we are at the Dearborn Homecoming, the first night, good old Friday night, and they've broken all records this morning and this afternoon already at the Homecoming. My guest tonight is Mr. Win Arneson. He is the director of the Dearborn Historical Society, and Win will be talking to about the past of our town, Dearborn, Michigan. I tell you, it's been sort of fun out here tonight trying to see the show and watching all the activities going on here. We're broadcasting right over by the bocce ball area, and the art fair is down here to my left, and we've got the great big stage down here to my right for the big show tonight, and it'll be going on tonight, tomorrow, and on Sunday. If you've never been to a Dearborn Homecoming, I suggest you come on down. You're going to have a lot of fun. We're at Ford Field, and we're doing it live, so hang in there. Now, let me see. We've got some things here. I noticed there's some people in the audience, and as they saw us set up here, and we'll be doing about 7 shows live between now and Sunday right here from Ford Field, Group W. And I guess we better bring the first guy in. Come on in, whoever. Let's see. All right, here's a guy. He wanted something. He wanted to plug something, right? What's your name?
Bill Harrison.
Bill?
The one and only. Bill Harrison.
You look different. What happened?
Well, I kind of bleached my hair a little bit.
You bleached your hair?
A little bit, just a little bit.
Is that in now? Is that punk?
No.
It's not in.
It's Bill Harrison.
It's a Bill Harrison. What'd your mother and father say when they came home and found you with bleached blonde hair?
Well, I thought my mom would like it, but she didn't really like it. She calls me Old Yeller.
Old Yeller? Okay, well, what was this thing you wanted on for?
See, we have a raffle going on right now for the Tri-School Video Club.
The Tri-School Video Club. That's the Dearborn High... Excellent Fortune, okay. The kids in video, right?
And we're raffling off a video disc player, plus 2 discs.
Oh, I see.
Jaws, the movie Jaws, and Rocky.
Oh, you got the machine that plays those things?
Yep.
Okay, what's the ticket? How much you charge?
$1 a piece.
A dollar a piece. You want to sell me one?
Yep, you have to sign your name and everything right there.
I got to tell you something. I normally don't run around dressed like this, Bill. I'm more casual. I don't have any money yet. I really don't.
You can give me an IOU or something.
An IOU? Well, all right. For $1, or if I sign in, I can owe you the money.
Well, you can give me an IOU.
And you're selling these out at the Homecoming? Where people want to buy a ticket for this? Where do they come and see you? You're going to be selling them?
Yes, I should be there.
Okay. Where about? Where do we find you?
Well,
you're over here. But that's by the steps that you come down from. What's that road behind us here?
That's Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill Road.
Near the restrooms.
Is that Cherry Hill? Near the restrooms, the comfort station? Well, everybody will have to come there sooner or later, right? Yep. And you've got your little TV set and everything, and kids are selling. $1, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know my phone number. You just put it down. Can I put Dearborn High? Would that be all right?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. I'll owe you $1. All right, good. Well, you got a second prize, too. Murrow Walkman type stereo. All right, thank you, my friend.
Do you have the IOU?
Well, what do you mean the IOU? I signed that. You want something more?
Yeah, I'll just take your watch or something.
My watch?
Yeah. Collateral.
I'll tell you, these kids get a little bit crazy today. Watch it now. That's a Timex. I don't want anything to happen to it. I get it back as soon as I get it back. All right, good. All right, I see a friend of mine from Fortune High here. Good old Frank Audie. Frank, how are you, Frank?
Pretty good.
This is the guy that does our sports at the Tri-School News. Super kid. The pride of Fortune High School, our old alma mater, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you got going here?
Well, we got a car wash going tomorrow, which is Saturday, August the 6th, at Mike Adry Ice Arena from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I hope all you bring your cars down. The profits will benefit the Fortune class of '84, our senior class.
Oh, your senior class at Fortune.
Yes.
Okay, at the Mike Adry Arena.
Mike Adry Ice Arena on Ford Road.
Okay, so all you old Fortunites, get in there and spend how much for a car wash?
$1.50 for a car and $2 for vans and trucks.
There you go. That's a bit. Did I give you a plug?
Thank you, Mr. Gibb.
All right, keep that old Fortune go there. Oh, blue and gold going. Well, thank you. Well, listen, enough of this ranting and raving. Let's get on with something important while I try and get my watch back. We'll be back with Mr. Win Arneson, the director of the Dearborn Historical Society, and we'll be talking about Dearborn's past. Hang in there. I'll be right back.
Russ Gibb at random, live at Dearborn Homecoming.
I see you're worried. I got you 4 down.
Not the golf.
Not the golf.
I wish I knew what to do about retirement. I need help.
Do what I did, Mike. Talk to IDS.
IDS?
My IDS representative and you can set up a financial plan to help you reach all of your goals, including retirement.
An IDS financial plan. Excellent idea.
How did John's Manville celebrate a century and a quarter of designing better roofing with a brand new shingle, Designer 125?
Designer 125 gives the roof texture and warmth, has the look of slate or wood shakes.
Looks great on any type of home. Class A fire resistance at an affordable price and a 25-year prorated warranty, too.
For a free estimate on installing these quality shingles, call Charing Cross, 882-3100.
Meet the Tylers. As soon as they sell their house, a new life begins for them. Trouble is, they didn't list their house with Earl Keim Realty, so it's taking just a little longer than they hoped to get it sold. We could have helped the Tylers, but the Tylers like doing things the hard way. Earl Keim Realty makes selling houses easy. We're not saying they'll ever sell without us. It's only a question of when. Call Earl Keim Realty.
Dr. Salama, I'm so uncomfortable with my foot problems. I can't ignore them anymore. What can you do to help me?
Foot problems are very common. Did you know that 98 out of 100 people are born with normal feet? But by adulthood, most suffer from foot disorders. It's also a fact that many whole body diseases, such as diabetes and gout, are commonly first detected in the foot. Many of the more common problems that may occur are ingrown toenails, bunions, corns, and calluses, arthritic conditions of the foot and ankle, or even fractures due to trauma or sport-related injuries. Many of these problems can be treated conservatively or surgically right here in a comfortable office environment.
Do you accept medical insurance?
Yes, I participate with most major health insurance plans like Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Medicare, John Hancock, and the like.
For information on a free initial consultation, call Dr. Salama at 274-0990.
Money market investments. Big E has had one for almost a year. The Fund Beater. And they've improved it.
Big E will do it for you. Now the new insured Fund Beater is better than ever. Lower minimum deposits, more ways to get at your money, and now FSLIC protection.
Big E will do it for you. When you need innovative banking services, talk to us. If it's new and better, it's at the Big E.
The Big E will do it for you, too.
Back again, Russ Gibb, and my guest today, Mr. Win Arneson, who is the director of
Dearborn Historical Museum.
And I said society. Is that two different organizations?
Well, yes. The Historical Society is an organization that goes back to 1940, but it meets at the Historical Museum, and they do much volunteer work and give us a little support, too.
When I win, is the McFadden-Ross Museum part of the historical thing? How does that go?
Yes, sir. The museum itself, Russ, dates back to 1950 when the Commandant's Quarters opened. And then in 1956, the McFadden-Ross House opened. It was given to us in trust in a will by the late Elizabeth Ross. And in 1956, that was opened, and that became our second building. And since that time, we've acquired an office storage workshop building and our annex building just south of the McFadden-Ross House. So we have 4 buildings.
Well, you know, when we've been talking about the future of Dearborn, but I had occasion to drop into your museum about a week ago, and I was amazed at what was there. I really was unprepared for all the interesting things that you had over there, and I said, why don't we do something about our past? Because you don't have a future without a past.
That's right.
And I guess what I'd like to know is, what's the earliest recognition or the recollection or historical document that talks about Dearborn, Michigan? How far do we go back?
Well, you could safely go back into the 18th century when the ribbon farms were here. You know, Cadillac came here in Detroit in 1701, and then some years later, the ribbon farm started developing.
Now, what's a ribbon farm?
Well, a ribbon farm, that's the old French way of having access to the waterways. So everybody, your land may be 200 feet wide, but it may go back 2 miles. So you would have access to get to your boats, you know.
Now, was that to the Rouge River?
That would be to the Rouge River, and the same thing on the Detroit River, too, the same way.
Well, then were all the founding people here really French descent?
Well, of course, the Indians, the first people, and then the French, of course, came in after
wait.
Cadillac.
I saw something at your museum that talked about the geographical part. Now, this was one time under the ocean, was it not? Dearborn?
Well, yeah, that'd go way, way back. Just like we had an ice age here, too, and there was about a mile of ice over all of Michigan.
Okay.
Both
but
extremes.
Then you mentioned Indians. Now, what kind of Indians were we talking about?
Well, they were the woodland-type Indians. They're the Wyandots, the Hurons, the Potawatomis. They were called woodland because they lived in a woodland society, an area.
Okay, now, were they actually here in Dearborn?
Oh, yes.
Do we have records of encampments?
Well,
or?
as far as our early records, there were some Indians who passed through and had little campsites here from time to time, may have made some tools on their way to go hunting farther north or so, but there really weren't Indians living here to any extent, right in what is now Dearborn at the time of the early settlers.
Okay, when the settlers first came here, what did they find? Woodlands? Or?
Yeah, it was probably,
basically...
yeah, people could hunt bear and deer around here. It was thick woodland.
Bigger
this whole
trees than
area
we have today?
was woods.
Bigger than we have today?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay,
a lot of those old trees are gone, you know. These are the offspring of some of those.
Now, the Indians, then, were not really settled here. It was the French that came.
French came?
Then where does our history take us?
Well, now, as far as Dearborn, let's say we can really trace it to the 1780s when the ribbon farms were really developing along here. And we have maps at the museum showing that. And some people, they can come into the museum and they can see on these drawings where their homes fit into this today, roughly in the proximity of it. Let's say this is the 1780s. And then, of course, things went kind of slowly, and then you jump into the 19th century, the early 1800s. Then you get up to the time of the Erie Canal coming through New York. That brought a lot of people into this area. The land was cheap here. The government was trying to encourage people to settle this outlying area.
Okay, now you say the land was cheap. How much would you pay for an acre?
I can't offhand. I'm not prepared to give you figures, but it was very low figures for the time. It's probably for a few dollars, you know, you could buy an awful lot of land.
The first language spoken around here, French.
Yes, yes.
When did English take over?
Well, of course, mid 18th century.
Okay.
Yes.
Now what happened to Dearborn? Was it an entity? Did they call it Dearborn?
Oh, no, it didn't become Dearborn until the 1830s.
The 1830s.
After 1825, as I say, the people came here from the east, primarily New York, Pennsylvania, along the Erie Canal, and then up here to the Rouge River to what is now Dearborn, which is called Dearbornville in those days. That's the 1830s, and then the name Dearborn came along. Major General Henry Dearborn of the Revolutionary War fame.
Oh, it was a man's
War
name.
of 1812. Yeah, it was named for General.
It wasn't the deer were born here.
Oh no. This is a.
Do you get that question a lot?
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, we hear that quite a bit. That's sort of humorous at times. And so it was named for him. He died in 1829, and they decided to honor him. He was quite a respected man.
Well, where did he come from now?
He came originally from Northampton area of New Hampshire.
Okay.
Prominent family, early America.
So we can really go back to New Hampshire,
Oh,
our
yeah.
history here.
Oh yeah, sure.
And he came down here and he started the fort.
Well, no, he never came here. The closest he came to here would have been during the War of 1812, would have been Fort York, which is today Toronto. But he was a well-known person of his time. He was
looking for a name.
Yes, he was Secretary of War under the two administrations of Thomas Jefferson, and hence they wanted to honor him. Just like Fort Dearborn in Chicago is named for the same man.
So they gave him Dearborn, Michigan.
That's right.
We weren't even Michigan then.
No, it was Michigan Territory.
Michigan Territory.
That's right. The Arsenal came along 1833, 1837, took 4 years to complete that. And it's interesting, Russ, that in 1837, Michigan then became a state. It was territory until 1837, the day or the year the Arsenal was completed.
Now, you say they built a fort, and I notice you have a picture there. Is that when they built the fort?
Well, we really, to be correct, we should call it an arsenal.
An arsenal. Now, what's
an arsenal?
What is an arsenal?
Okay.
When we talk about a fort and an arsenal?
I'm glad you bring that up because many people confused it too. An arsenal is a place where the munitions of war are stored, repaired, and maintained. Whereas a fort is really a fortified installation designed for battles, like Fort Wayne in Detroit.
So there was really no fighting going on in Dearborn, per se?
Oh no, not at that time.
Have we had any killing ever in a war in Dearborn? I mean, any battles like you in Pennsylvania and everything?
No.
So we haven't had any of that?
No.
Okay, now this was the original entrance of the Arsenal. Where would that be today, by the way? Let me take another shot of that and explain where that gateway would be in regards to where
if our viewers look where the gates are today, next to the Commandant's quarters at Michigan and Monroe, we have them a little off of the street there, but those gates originally would have been right out in the middle of Monroe.
On Monroe.
That's right, right out in the middle of the street there.
Okay, now you have some more photographs, and I'd like to get to them, Win.
Now, this is another view showing the Commandant's quarters on the right, and then your gates would be on the extreme left, and you see an area in the front, and that was the old Chicago Road, which today is Michigan Avenue. It was a muddy road in those days.
When did they call it Michigan Avenue? I mean, about what year did it become Michigan Avenue versus
Michigan
Chicago
Avenue,
Road?
I'm not sure the exact year, but it would be in the mid 1800s, 1850, somewhere along in there. Yes.
Now, that was not an avenue as we understood it. I mean, it was just a dirt road, right?
Right. Well, originally it was a Sauk Indian trail. And then it became Chicago Road because it was the main route from Detroit to Chicago.
So we really picked it up from the Indians.
That's right. And it's interesting that we can zip across to Chicago today in, what, 5 hours, something like that?
Sure.
In those days, it took about 5 to 7 days, depending on the weather conditions. Interesting.
Now, you have some more pictures here, Win, and I'd like to get to them because they're fascinating to look at these.
Now, this is really the museum
today,
This is an interior view of the Arsenal. The Arsenal was 360 feet on its side. You're looking right from the middle area of it, about where the alley would be across the street from the back of the Commandant's quarters today. And this other view here, Russ, shows actually how it looks today in contrast.
Well, actually, it's quite a bit similar.
Oh, yes.
Except that you've certainly spruced it up a great deal.
Yes. Well, of course, we couldn't restore it exactly the way it was. The gates would have to be out in the middle. We'd need the other buildings of the Arsenal, but they're long gone, most of them.
How do we fund our historical heritage here in Dearborn? How does that happen, Win?
Well, we have a rather unique situation in this community. About 2/3 of our funds come from leasing the land where the Chicago Roadhouse is and the Fairlane Inn Motel.
You actually own that land?
That's actually city land. The commission operates that, and the money goes to the city treasury, but it does offset 2/3 of our budget. The rest of the money is taxable.
From an historic point of view, Dearborn, Michigan, what would be the most historic thing that most people would know about Dearborn? Ford Motor Company?
Well, I would say yes. The people would relate to that and the Rouge plant. Most people, that'd be on their minds.
In the world, if we were to say Dearborn, we would know exactly what...
They would right away think of world headquarters of the Ford Motor Company. But the spin was so long as world headquarters.
Now, tell me a little bit about the early days. Now, when we first started to become a city or a town, how did that happen? Did we have mayors or governors or...
Well, okay, the early days do go back to the time of the Arsenal, and then Dearbornville did develop, and then there were presidents of the community in the early days, and this goes right up into about the 1920s. The presidents, and then they became mayors as we know today. Clyde Ford, who was the first mayor of Consolidated Dearborn, 1929, he was previously president, and then he became a mayor.
Now, Henry Ford was born in Dearborn, right?
Yes, at the corner of where Greenfield and Ford Road are today. We have a state historical marker there.
Okay.
In those days, that was Greenfield Township, though. It was a different township.
It wasn't called Dearborn.
No, that's right, Greenfield.
Was there ever a movement to call it Fordtown or Fortson or... where did Fortson come from?
Well, okay, that's another interesting story. The east end of Dearborn was originally called Springwells for many, many years.
Now, why?
Well, that was tied into the area that was part of Springwells of Detroit that went right down to the river. There were a lot of springs in that area. And in the early days it was called, I forget the French word, but it meant beautiful springs in this area. And that was a big parcel of land. Well, then finally, Detroit, as it became Detroit, they took up much of the area that's the eastern end of Springwells, and the Springwells that is today the east end of Dearborn was incorporated. And then about 1925, they wanted to honor Henry Ford because of the tremendous decision he made to bring his Rouge plant here and vacate Highland Park.
Now, why did he? Why did he come back here and when he had everything going for him in Highland Park?
Well, there are a number of reasons. First of all, he was sentimental about his home area. He was born around here. Of course, the Rouge River and the Rouge slip was developed, and he was able to, you know, bring in boats with ore and that right here. And he bought up land. Land was relatively cheap. He bought up a lot of farmland. Just it wasn't too settled even in the 1910, 1920 era.
That's when he bought most of the land?
Yes.
Were there a lot of people speculating on land in this area? Did the word get out that Henry was buying land back in his old home?
Well, he was kind of clever about it. He'd offer people, you know, more than the land was worth. A man maybe, say he got $30,000 for his farm. That was an awful lot of money in those days, and the guy could retire and live a good life. So he offered him a lot, and I think he got around speculation. There probably was some of that, but he was pretty clever the way he went about it.
Then the part of the Fords are buried in Detroit, though, and I'm confused.
Well, there was a family burial ground at Joy Road and Greenfield,
right,
next to the church there that Mrs. Ford built.
Right. The Martha
Martha Chapel, yes. Right. And some of his ancestors were buried there, and well, he was, you know, interested in his family, and he decided to be buried there. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have been over at Greenfield Village.
In Greenfield Village.
Right.
If you had to talk to young people about our history, what would be the places that you'd tell them to go and visit in Dearborn? If they want to really see the history.
Okay. Incidentally, we do offer a nice tour. We have a program, an outline that people can pick up at the museum without charge. That's about a 2-hour self-guided tour of Dearborn, and some of the highlights would be, of course, the area where the Rouge plant is. Some of the churches in town we do pass. Of course, naturally, the Commandant's Quarters being a historic area. Some of the schools, City Hall, some sites where there's nothing left today, but it's a certain spot that may be interesting, and it's part of our history, but for some reason or other, buildings were torn down. We have about 30, 35
spots that you would tell them about
on this outline, yes.
Now, before we finish, and we're just about out of time already.
Okay.
We've got a special program, a pageant coming up on Sunday at 5 p.m. right here at our homecoming at Ford Field.
Right.
And it's called the Dearborn Historical Museum presents a community pageant through the Arsenal Gates.
Yes.
What's that all about, Larry?
Okay, well, very briefly, we are commemorating this summer the 150th anniversary of the Arsenal coming to Dearborn, which again I say is really what got Dearborn going during the initial days. We're commemorating it by a number of activities, and one is this pageant that will be at 5 o'clock. It'll last a good hour and a half, and we cover the highlights of, well, we go back to the Indian days, we go back to the French days, the British here, some of the wars that were involved.
And that'll be done right in the stage area?
There'll be reenactment groups, yes, it'll be over at the staged area, yes.
And that's open to the general public?
It's
no
open to
admission?
the general public, yes.
Right at Dearborn's homecoming?
That's right. We'll have a printed program like this for everybody. We've printed many of them.
Okay, so that's Sunday, the August the 7th at 5 p.m. So I guess we should
correct.
invite everybody on down.
Well, we'd like to welcome them. It's a nice thing for Dearbornites.
You know, we're going to continue doing this, the past to Dearborn, because I'm fascinated. We've got the fellow talking about early aviation, Mr. Hagglethorne, coming on, I believe, on Sunday.
Yes.
We got the mayor coming on to talk about his reminiscence, and Marjorie Powell. We just got a lot of interesting people talking about the past of our town as they remember it.
Yes.
And I guess that's the appropriate time to do it at homecoming.
Right. We have a rich heritage.
We really do.
Our public should be aware of it.
Win, thank you ever so much, and I want to say anytime you have anything to say to the public, if you can use this show, you're welcome to come on down.
Well, thank you very much.
Win, thank you for taking care of our history, because we don't have a future without a past.
That's right.
Russ Gibb, I'll be back right after these announcements.
I got you 4 down.
Not the golf.
Not the golf.
I wish I knew what to do about retirement. I need help.
Do what I did, Mike. Talk to IDS.
IDS?
My IDS representative and you can set up a financial...
Call Charing Cross, 882-3100.
Meet? They'll ever sell without us. It's only a question of when. Call Earlkheim Realty.
Doctors.
Trauma or sport-related injuries. Many of these problems can be Medicare, John Hank.
We're back on. We're back on. I guess that's called smile when to tell you the camera's on. Russ Gibb jumping up and down at the Dearborn Homecoming 1983 variety. Of course, the festivities go on here until around 11:30 tonight, so you're welcome to come on down, and all day tomorrow and all day Sunday. And don't forget, tomorrow night and Sunday night, the fireworks display. Spectacular. I want to thank my guest, Mr. Win Arneson from the Dearborn Historical Museum. Interesting guest. We'll have him back again some other time. Right now, I think I'm going to just enjoy the activities here, go over and play a little bocce ball, get some of the Polish kielbasa over there in the Polish tent, and then have some fun tomorrow at the Scottish Tattoo. That's right, if you like Scots and you like the bagpipes and all that stuff, hang in. It'll all be here at the Dearborn Homecoming. Russ Gibb, at random. For those of you that took time to drop me a card, I'd like to say thank you. For those of you who took time to view the show, I'd like to say thank you. Most of all, I'd like to thank you for just being you. Russ Gibb, at random.
We'll be joining the Battle of the Bands in progress in just a moment. Please stay tuned.